The BUL Armory Axe full-size cleaver shooting impressions. Coming up, you'll see cold shots, first impressions through this thing. We'll do full magazine +1, a multi-mag test since it takes Glock 17 magazines, our trademark what's for dinner test to see what it eats, take it to the spinner for sights and trigger control, do some practical accuracy, and then give you concluding thoughts. All that coming up next on GBGuns. I'm back about 20 yards or so from our steel target. It's a reduced size torso. Using the second camera so you guys can see the hits. And interesting to try this. Recently did the Axe Cleaver Compact and really liked it, except my hand couldn't do this. I couldn't have everything on the gun. I can with this full size 10 rounds of Winchester White Box thanks to our Ammo Squared supporters. Let's see how this feels. This is a Glock 17 size gun, so got the longer sight radius, longer grip. A miss. And I tell you what, the recoil impulse sure is gentle on these bigger guns. I tell people all the time, try to remind them that bigger guns are easier to shoot. But because of trends, we've been reviewing small guns, and I forgot how comfy a full-size handgun is. That was an absolute delight. Now we'll move on to full mag +1. We're using BUL Armory's factory magazines, as you saw in the tabletop. Make sure, there we go. Here's our 1, and our full mag. Does need a little bit of push. I did notice too, these 17 round magazines take a little more effort to fully stuff than the 15 rounds did for the compact. Not unbearable, not super difficult or impossible like some of the Smith & Wesson mags. Just took a little more effort, and you do need to give it a little push to get that clip in there. This is a test of the magazine's ability to run this way, the gun's ability to run this way. I'm going to try to shoot quickly while ideally still hitting the steel down there just to get through this, but also try to make some, to get something out of it. Fairly easy, no issues, as we've kind of come to expect from BUL Armory. Now, multi-mag. This one, I'm going to kill the target cam. It's really not necessary. But I do have 4 other types of Glock 17 sized magazines to see how they run. Like doing this because whenever you've got a pistol that takes ubiquitous mags, you want to know if your mags will run in it. So I have 3 rounds of Winchester White Box in here, just looking to see if it cycles, how the magazine fits, etc. Starting with an X-Tar magazine, which fits in really smoothly, plenty of room. And drops freely. A Glock factory 17 round mag, fits in well. Drops freely. Ulti-Mag, this is from Fab Defense. Does not drop freely, although it slides in better than the compact one did. That's not going to drop free. And we've got a Glock factory with the extended toe on there. Once again, good easy fit. Ooh, did not want to feed. Let's see if that continues. These are older magazines. It ran and locked open. Magazines are a wearable item. Keep that in mind when we do these tests. Sometimes they wear out, and we just don't do the test often enough to warrant spending all the money to buy a bunch of new mags every time. Let's see what it eats. It's that time again, our trademark test, the what's for dinner test, where we look to see what they're gonna eat. As I roll by these, you'll see we have different bullet profiles, different weights, different case materials, projectile shapes, quite the gamut. We're gonna shoot 3 rounds of each. We're looking to see, does it feed? from slide lock, is there enough energy to cycle and feed another round of the same type? And does it lock open on empty when done? If you guys have been curious about trying some of these loads, because I know sometimes we feature some odd ones, check the pinned comment for the article at gbgunsdepot.com. There I will link to where we can find this stuff. And as always, big thanks to our patrons and Ammo Squared supporters. You guys make this happen. So we've proven it to run well with quite a few magazines. I'm going to be using those magazines in What's for Dinner. I'll be calling out what magazines they are in case we have an issue, and then we'll go back to the BUL Armory magazine if it's possibly a feed type thing. I have eliminated that Glock Factory magazine that didn't want to run in the earlier test. Our first group is Liberty Civil Defense, 50 grain plus P in a full-size gun. It's going to be some mad energy. Should be exciting. Circle number 1. Target camera on. Important step. Sometimes this stuff sounds like rifle ammo. No cycling issues. Circle 2, we've got ARX's Inceptor, 65 grain. This has more recoil than the Plus P. And tends to shoot a little wilder too. Circle 3, Koenig's 110 grain jacketed hollow point. There we go. I don't know why I froze on the trigger there for a second. Shot well, no issues. Circle 4, Blazer aluminum, 115 grain. Aluminum and steel case ammunition, if you're not aware, is around because it's cheaper to make, so it's cheaper to sell, so it's cheaper to buy. However, it has different friction case to case inside the magazine and going into and out of the chamber, so some guns choke on it. That's why some companies don't recommend it. No issues in the axe full size. For the 5th circle, we've got Wolf 115 grain steel case, good for the same reason as the aluminum. And I haven't been naming magazines, but we haven't had a magazine issue yet. That felt punchier than Wolf usually does. That was interesting. Circle 6 is the Federal Personal Defense Punch, 124 grain. Stuff tends to have higher recoil. And it does. I don't know if you guys saw that muzzle flip away from me. Grouped very nicely though. Moving on from there, another Federal load. This is the 138 grain Syntec Defense segmented jacketed hollow point, the blue stuff. Also a bit more recoil. No cycling issues. Now I've got to do some mag loading. Three more loads to go. If you guys didn't know how I load these, this test started because I used to teach at a place that sold only a couple specific loads of ammunition, and what I noticed was some of those loads didn't work well in some guns. Then I began to notice they worked for some people but not others, the limp wrist being the factor there. So I found it important to show people what loads may or may not work in their gun and why, with decent shooting technique. I'm no master shooter, but I consider myself to be decent enough to make an assessment. Circle 8 Winchester Elite Defender, 147 grain. Nickel plated case. These also can be a little on the punchier side for recoil. Yep. no issues. Gun, that ulti-mag still doesn't drop out. Federal 150 grain action pistol. This is the gamer load. A snub-nosed 150 grain synthetic jacketed. Very soft. And you can tell it is likely still subsonic even out of this full-size barrel. But because it shoots so soft, it's easy to shoot a nice group. It helps counter any flinch tendencies you might have. It's probably why the gamers like it. Our heaviest load from PPU, 158 grain. Obviously, it's supposed to be subsonic. Good stuff for Circle 10. And there you have it. More confirmation that softer shooting stuff is easier to group well because you just get right back on target. Speaking of getting on target, it's time for sights and trigger control over on the spinner. That is our Titan Grid Outdoors 6-inch spinner target, and we are back 13 yards away. Use this target for sights and trigger control because as you hit it, it moves. The more you hit it and better you hit it, the faster it moves, and the more important a well-timed, well-placed shot becomes, thereby giving us an indicator of sights and trigger control, learnability of a firearm. I have 8 rounds of Winchester White Box standing right beside the camera here, and those of you guys that have seen a lot of these should see more swing on the target with the extra energy from this longer barrel, if I do my part. Over the top already. Almost. All right. I think pretty well. What you saw there was a target moving fast. So fast that it can be tough to time the shots. The trigger on these, like you saw in the tabletop, is nice and predictable. Gives you a good defined wall. You know when it's going to break. It's just a matter of punching through it. Sights were fine for me. I had no trouble tracking them on that target. They are a 3 white dot setup. So I think this gun did pretty well there. I would have loved to hit more, but the harder you hit, the faster that swings, the tougher it is to time the shots. I think my misses were this guy's problem, not the guns. Let's try some accuracy. For practical accuracy, I've got 5 shots of Winchester White Box, just plain old simple stuff. We are 7 yards back. I'm going to be aiming at the left circle square. That square is 1 inch, and as a result, at this distance, it tends to be about the same width as a front sight post. This lets me collect some thoughts. It's generally more shooter than gun, but some guns make it easier. I felt that when I threw it. And the last one, of course, I threw a little bit too. Not bad. Full-size guns have kind of fallen out of mode. They're not trendy anymore. However, if you've got large hands like I do, this grip was excellent. It's so nice to have that toe folding under the toe of the stock, hitting the underside of my pinky for control. Longer sight radius, more energy out of it, a longer cycle, making for smoother recoil. Just overall, much nicer to shoot than a smaller gun. If you're looking to learn, if you don't mind carrying a full size, in fact, I'm curious how many of you carry a Glock 17 size gun. I mean, it's roughly about the same size as my Gunpower K100 as far as barrel length and grip length, but higher capacity, 17 rounds. I think this is a heck of a gun for the price. Performed very well for us, very nice to shoot. It's an enjoyable gun. It's something that you could spend all day at the range and not get tired of. I say that because some of the super lightweight guns can wear you out because they've got more recoil. Some of the super heavy guns can wear you out as well. This is just that good do-all. So if you don't mind carrying bigger, if you're looking for home defense, if you're looking for something to train with or learn on, I think this size is an excellent choice. At least it would be for me. And BUL Armory once again knocking it out of the park. Spectacular stuff. Thanks for watching.